Aurobindo, in his famous epic Savitri, defines what the Vedas are. He writes that there is the book of being's index page. The text and glossary of the Vedic truths are there. Nature's correspondence with the soul are written in the mystic hearts of life. Particularly, the Vedic seers are considered as the mystics. What exactly this term defines? Mystic means who invents something deeper understanding or deeper values or deeper realization of any of the concepts. We find there are thousands of Vedic seers, the rishis. Someone talks about Lord Agni, someone talks about Vayu, someone talks about Indra, someone talks about the wind, someone talks about humanity, someone talks about ethics, someone talks about morality, many things. So there is a saying in the scriptures, it says, Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande. And the beautiful translation is, I am a universe in the universe. So now the question comes, if I am a universe in the universe, how can I am able to connect with those universal powers? What is the necessity to be connected with such powers? And what is the result? There are two things. First is, when we see the visible world, we find it is a very beautiful creation, spread like with the winds, the water, the air, many things, mountains, birds, trees, many things in the inside. Human beings with their intelligence also invented the secret of this nature's creation, which you talk about science, and the scientific advancements has given a tremendous result to find the potentiality of nature. But in the similar way, we have also an invisible world in our life, but we are not much conscious about this. You see, I hope every one of us have seen some dreams. When we are in the dream stage, we meet with many unknown people, some mysterious things happen. How it is? Who are those people? What are those incidents and what are our connections? The scripture says we have 4 levels of consciousness. The Rishi speaks in the Upanishads. The first one is the Jagrat, Shwapna, Shushupti and Turiya. It means consciousness, unconsciousness, subconsciousness and superconsciousness actually. So we are much more aware about the first stage of consciousness, which you talk about the first level of things. When we are in the dream stage, we are not aware what is happening, because we never thought, yes, tomorrow there will be a Vedic chanting program, the arrangements will be like this, someone will talk about this, Didi, Bhaiya, all the brothers and sisters will join. We have never thought of. But if we see such things, something is fixed in an invisible world actually, these things are happening. But beyond that, there are also 2 levels. When we talk about Sushupti and Turiya, which is a super consciousness stage actually. So the famous saying, I am a universe in the universe. So how to connect with that? If we'll refer to the advancement of human mind, there are many cultures, many religions, many ethics, moralities. You see, when these people were living on different parts on the earth and there was no connection between this, we talk about the civilizations, Shabhyataएं. But when those civilizations came in contact with each other, they forgot how to live in a harmonious way. What happened? The world history says there was a class of civilizations. The civilizations fought with each other and it was broken, fragmented into different nations. The rise of nations came. And this is a serious problem. We find this process is going on. And if we refer to the speech of Maharshi Aurobindo on 14th August, where he speaks about the world state, world citizens. So, if we'll analyze this process, actually it was not about the class of civilizations or creation of nations. It will be a class of it fragmented versions of our consciousness, because like we human beings, there are certain other beings also, the animals are there, the plants are there. Each one of us has a conscious life, a conscious force within. And if you refer to these traditions, you take the example of the whole chanting of the sacred Vedas, you take the example of the chanting of the sacred Bible, you take the example of the sacred chantings of the Tripitaka in the Buddhist community, you take the example of the chantings of the Jain Tirthankaras, and also moreover if you will go to the tribal regions where you will find the people, particularly those who are nature worshippers, and their way of worshipping the nature is something different. Beyond than the religious, cultural or multi-diversity things, they are united with the unique beings. So each and every religion, we find there are certain principles and certain parameters to be united to know something, and what exactly to whom to know. And the law says there is a supreme being and there is a supreme consciousness, and we can be connected with that, because thou art that, you are that, I am the part of the supreme consciousness, you are also the part of the supreme consciousness, and the entire universe. When we talk about yatra vishwa bhavati ekanidam, where the universe becomes a family, or we talk about vasudhaiva kutumbakam, we talk about the global citizens or global ideas. But how to feel these global ideas? What are the parameters? So today we will only focus on, because it's part of the Sanskrit things, and we will talk about what are the effects or effects also. Chanting the Veda mantras, what are the things? You see, you take the example of water, and the scientific invention is it is H2O, hydrogen 2 and oxygen 1. If we will change the parameters, hydrogen 2 and oxygen 2, it will not create the water, it will create something else. In the similar way, when we do some computational linguistics, when we create some formulas, whether it is in the advancement of this aeronautical sciences or any fields, computing, we have a certain formula actually, and we use that formula to achieve that particular whatever we want. In the same way, what these Vedic people actually, when they thought about the universe, who invented this? The famous Purusha Sukta speaks about the origin of the creation. It says that the universe was created by the Almighty, a supreme power, and we invoke through different terminologies. Like one of the mantras says, Agnim Mitram Varunam Agnim Ahuratha Divyah Sah Suparna Garuthman Ekam Shat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. Ekam Sat means the truth is one, Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. That means the wise speaks differently. So why this speaks differently? If there are some differentiations, it is not the diversity, it is not to create disharmony, the nature's creations. It is basically the individual's aspirations to understand the divine. And when we proceed in the path of spiritual perfections or progress, there is not a fixed rules. If you want to proceed in this path of spirituality, although there are several literatures, traditions, gurus, ethics, principles, many things, but we have to create our own path. And the law says, make the path less traveled. In the Kathopanishad, the Rishi speaks about, it is one of the famous mantras of Swami Vivekananda. He spoke at the World Parliament of Religions. Uttisthata Jagrata Prapya Varanna Nibodhata. That means arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. This is the half portion of that mantra, but the second line is very technical. It says, Khurasya dhara nisita duratya durgam pathastat kabayo vadanti. That means the path is just like walking on a razor's edge, so said by the sages. You take the example of the mystic sages. If you will visit to the Himalayan belt or many other sacred places of the world, you will find there are many yogis, rishis, sadhus. They have devoted their entire life on that path. What Sri Aurobindo refers in his famous AuroBharati, those sages doing penance, their bodies has become whitened, and with the penance of those sages and seers, particularly a spiritual vibration is coming and the human being is able to realize the divinity within. So, the main secret of the law of creation or the law of living is to understand ourselves, to understand yourself also, and to understand each one of us. This is the message of spirituality what we talk about. And when we refer to these Vedic mantras, sometimes what happens, we listen to the chantings. Oh, we feel this language is not accessible because we do not know the language is. Suppose if I will read some scripts written in Hebrew language or Arabic, I will not be able to understand because I do not know the language. Neither I speak, nor I understand, nor I write, because my mind is not awakened with that. But if I will try a little bit effort, I can learn a language, I can learn the spirits. In that way, when we study these Vedas or when we listen the mantras, we find it is little bit not accessible because this language we are not connected with. Yesterday I was talking about, as per the UNESCO's record, more than 8,000 languages are being spoken all over the world, and it is divided into 18 families, language families. Like you take the example of Indo-European family, American family, Chinese, Atyutari family, then Caucasian family. There are totally 18 families are there, and in this there are 2 families where more languages are there. In the American families there are 1,000 languages, and similarly in the Indo-European languages there are also 1,000 languages. And if you deeply study these roots, we find Sanskrit has a unique connection with Greek, Latin and many other languages, because there was a connection. People came in contact with each other, they interacted, they found some similarities. Even if you go to the Central Asian region, there is basically you will find some fire temples. It is called basically Ataskada. There are the fire, because the Zoroastrians were the fire worshippers. And if you visit to those temples, please come sir. And if you will visit to those temples, 24 hours you will find the fire is, they have a system. So these practices, when we study deeply this tradition, actually it speaks about 2 things. The first is the theoretical aspects which the Shastram says, and another is the practical applications, the Prayoga. You take the example of any of the scientific things. If you have a formula, we have to prove it. If it is H2H water, we have to mix it and make it to the water like that. In the similar case, when these Vedic sages created or invented these Vedic mantras, they also utilize some specific mantras through the rituals. Through the rituals, like they mentioned about Om Agnim Mele Purohitam Yajnasya Deva Mrityujam Hotaram Ratna Dhatamam. The Rishi Madhuchandas is invoking Lord Agni to come to this fire altar, so it will prosper us like that. So, why I told about this background, particularly when we chant these Vedic mantras and when we try to understand the deeper sense of these mantras, and Sri Aurobindo has very meticulously explained the spirit of this Vedic mantra through his monumental creations, the secret of the Vedas, hymns to the mystic fire, Vedic and philological essays. So, I request you to kindly join with me. Please close your eyes. I will chant some mantras and we will start the today's little bit workshop what we have planned. I request all of you to kindly close your eyes and feel the vibration of this mantra, and then we will analyze. This is basically the famous Purusha Shuktam of Rigved. The Rishi is Narayan, and the Sukta speaks about the creation, and it is one of the beautiful Suktas. I request all of you to kindly join. We will start accordingly. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kabim Nam Upamashravastamam Jyeshtha Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anaham Srunnannuti Bhishida Shadanam. Om Agnim Mele Purahitam Yajjasya Deva Mutvejam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. Om Mikhetor Jetva Vayavasthadevo Hashabita Prapreto Sreshtatamahya Karmana Apaya Dhumagna Indraya Vagam Prajavati Ranamiva Ayakshmai Katamagashansa Gopatosha Tavahiri Yajamanasya Pashuon Pahi. Om Agna Ayahi Vitae Grinano Habhyadatae Nihota Sasivarhishi. Om Mitrisaptaha Paryanti Vishwa Rupani Vibhrataha Vachaspatiir Vala Tesham Tanno Adya Dadhatu Me. Om Atha Purusha Shuktam
Sahasrasirha Purushas Sahasrakshas Sahasrapad Sabhuvim Vishwato Vritvatya Tishtaddasangulam Purusha Yevedam Sarvam Yadbhutam Yachabhavyam Utamre Tattvasya Nojadannenatirohati Yetavanasya Mahimato Jyayamsya Purusha Padosya Vishwa Bhutani Tripadasyavrtam Divi Tripadodhvaudait Purushah Padosyeha Bhavat Punaha Tato Vishvam Vyakramatsasananasane Abhi Tasmahat Viralajayata Virajo Adhipurushah Sajato Atyarichyata Paschat Bhumimaso Puraha Yatpurushena Havisha Devajijnamatam Vata Vasanto Asya Sidajyam Greshma Yidbhasvaradhavihi Sanjajnam Valishiti Prauksham Purusham Jatamagratah Tena Deva Ajajanta Sadhyarirajastaye Tasmahat Jajñat Sarvahutas Sambhritam Vrishadajyam Vasuntanscakre Vajavyaha Naranyan Gramyaschaye Tasmahat Jajñat Sarvahutarajasamaha Nijagnire Chandam Dijagire Tasmad Jajastasmahat Ajayata Tasmadasvaha Ajayanta Ekecho Bhajadadaha Gavo Bhajagire Tasmahat Jataha Javajaha Yatpurusham Vedadhukkadisham Jakalpayan Mukham Kimasya Kaubahu Kavurupadaha Uchchete Brahmanasya Mukhamasit Bahurajanyah Kritaha Urudarasya Yadvaishyah Padhyam Sudro Ajayata Chandramamanaso Jadastaksho Suryo Ajayata Mukharindraschagnischa Pranat Vayurajayata Nabhya Asirantariksham Siršnodjau Samavartata Padhyam Bhumirdishasrotrat Tatha Lokan Akalpayan Saptasyasan Parihayatri Saptasamidha Kritaha Devayajyajñam Tam Bānāmabadhran Purusham Pasam Yajñena Yajñamajadanta Devāstāni Dharmāni Prathamānyāsan hanatam mahimanas sachanta yatra purve sadhyas santi deva.
So you see how beautiful these verses are when we talk about the Rishi chants about Om Gananan Tva Ganapati Gum Havamahe Kabim Kabim Nam Upamashravastamam Jyeshtha Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anaha Srunnannoti Bhishi Dashadanam. The Rishi invokes the Ganapati, the lords of the lords. Ganapati, when we do some the rituals, first we invoke Lord Ganapati, and there is a story, beautiful story actually. You know that when Lord Shiva was completely in his deep meditation, and he just tried to create another being to protect the Kailas mountain. And after many years, when Lord Shiva returned to Kailas, he found an auspicious warrior was there, and he told him, no, you can't go, because he was the Rakshak, like the security of this Kailas mountain. Lord Shiva tried many of his activities, but he was not able to convince that small little being, which we call Ganesh actually, and with a Lord Shiva tried to cut his head with him. When Goddess Parvati saw this, and he was completely angry, what the hell you did? So she told, I want my son back in a conscious being. So there was, in the Puranas basically the story is, and at last they found some elephant trunk and they added, and you will see Ganapati ji basically the trunk headed, elephant headed, it's like that. So Lord Shiva actually blessed him that before doing any auspicious things, first we will do all they will worship you. So without the puja or worship of Ganapati ji, nothing happens. Once Lord Shiva was fighting with the demons, and he was not able to defeat the demons actually, and he was wondering what happened, why I am not able to defeat all these demons. He forgot, when he started the war, he forgot to worship Lord Ganesh actually, and in the middle of the war he stopped the war and he just went for a little puja or worship. He invoked to Ganapati, and then he came up with some power and fought, and he defeated the demons. This is basically the spirit. Basically, when we do some spiritual or ritualistic things, Lord Ganapati is being invoked, and this famous mantra Gananam Tvam Ganapatim Havamahe Gum Kabim Kabinam Upashravastam says. So in Rigveda there are more than 10,500, approximately 10,580 mantras, and if we will combine those 4 Vedas, Rig, Yaju, Sam and Athab, it is approximately some 20,000 mantras. Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati speaks about the subject matter of these Vedas, that is, Rigveda is the book of knowledge, Yajurveda is the book of action, the ritualistic things, Samaveda is the book of devotion, and Atharveda is the book of science. So they have utilized those mantras into different forms to understand the real spirit of the nature, and particularly to understand the divinity within. So this is basically the spirit of the mantras. Now the question comes, when we chant these mantras, will it only affect to our conscious things, or only we will be spiritually awakened, or these mantras can have any results which can affect to our other beings? Yes, like the Rishi speaks about the Pancha Kosas, the 5 layers of this human life. The first is the Annamaya Kosh, the physical body which we have. The second level is the Pranamaya Kosh, the vital breath. The third is the Manomaya Kosh, the mind. Fourth is the Vijnanamaya Kosh, the intellect. And the fifth is the Anandamaya, that is the bliss sith. And this is very practical actually, nothing mysterious. Everyone else has a body. Yes, I have. You also have. You have. Everyone else has a body. It's growing. I was a little kid, so slowly this my appearance was widened. Whatever. I also feel I have a vibration. This living energies, this vital forces within me, because I can also feel the wind. But the universal force is there. I also feel I have a mind. Everyone else has a mind also, because we think, we have intuitions, consciousness, we have rejections, we have acceptance, many things. We have also an that is called the Vijnanam, intuitive mind, but is the something beyond that on our consciousness. And the ultimate, that is the Anandamaya Kosh, that is the blissful state actually. You see, suppose I saw Lord Vishnu in one of my dreams. I'll tell you, I visited many sacred sites with my mother, almost east, west, north, south, central India. I have not visited with my mother northeastern parts, because whatever. One day I saw a dream like it was in the Mahakal Ujjain Nagari, that there is a famous, there is a big temple, and in my dream I saw a huge being, like in a purely in a yellowish color, and is standing, is touching to the sky actually. And I also realized through that dream, due to some hostile forces or some attacks in my dreams, I was just going to some dark holes actually, and there was a big wall. And I just prayed to the mother, and when I opened my eyes, I saw there is a being standing, touching to the sky, and complete in Lord Shiva's appearance. And suddenly I was returned from my dream stage. I just realized what exactly is. Because sometimes when you are conscious enough, we meet with many mysterious people, many miraculous things also happens. Why it happens actually? The tradition says we have 3 levels of entities actually. The first one is Adhidaivik, that is called the physical. Adhidaivik is basically the 3 levels of, like we chant the Om Shanti 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 at the end of any chanting of any Shanti mantras. The 3 times utterance of this Shanti word refers to the 3 levels of Adhibhautik, Adhidaivik and Adhyatmic, 3 levels of consciousness. When we talk about the Adhidaivik, particularly the physical world, we invoke to the universal powers to protect us from the physical beings, like the animals, even if sometimes from the human beings also. You see the example of what is happening around the world. Human beings, we talk about the most intelligent and the best creations in the world. We have just identified ourselves. No one has given these certificates to us. We have invented these realities, but the way we have created the devastations, destroyed the world. You see what way the human beings has applied their intuitions, the minds. So the first law says the Adhidaivik spheres, it prays to the universal powers to protect us from these physical harms, like from the animals and from the other objects also, whatever different beings are there. The third one is the divine, that is called the Adhidaivik, to protect us from extrasensory worlds of spirits, ghosts, deities and demigods. This is very much important actually. It is not like that you visited to a temple or a mosque or a church or a monastery, you find Lord Shiva is there, Lord Jesus is there, Lord Buddha is there, many other religions. It's not like that. Whatever objects we see, beyond that in your intuitive mind, there is some force. Like we invoke Jesus Christ, we feel the vibration is there. We invoke Lord Vishnu, that means we have some mental image, Lord Vishnu, a god which protects. Lord Shiva is there. But what's about the spirits, the ghosts, the deities and the demigods? There are also forces. And Mother says that as like the divine forces, the hostile forces are there. And the hostile forces, as like the divine forces, they have been created to support for this universal phenomenal process actually. So there are two things. Sri Aurobindo also writes in his hymns to the mystic fire or secret of the Vedas in some of these writings. Sri Aurobindo writes that the human body is just like a temple. There are gods. The gods are trying to establish their own identity. In the similar way, the divine, the hostile forces are also trying to capture that. Sri Aurobindo also gives a very unique example in what way we can recover, remove those things, only to know ourselves, to feel the universal consciousness within us, so that we can remove those hostile attacks on us and to feel the vibrations of the divinity. So this is basically the second layer. The first is the Adhidaivic, the first is the Adhibhautik, from the physical world, the support. Second one is the Adhidaivic, to get restrained from all these whatever negative powers. And the third one is more spiritual, that is the Adhyatmic, is particularly to free from all these hazards, whatever be sufferings, pains in our life, and to understand the Supreme Spirit. And the rule also says that all these panchakosas, these 5 layers of our being, that is whether it is the physical, vital, the mental, or the intellectual and the blissful Sit, Annamay, Pranamay, Manomay, Vigyanmay and Anandamay Kosh, consciousness is the ultimate force which regulates all these 5 elements actually. And there is a body mechanism also. This life circles moves. If we do not have a single component, if it is away from our life, we will not be able to sustain actually. If we do not have the body, where the soul comes? Has any one of us has seen the soul? Any one of us? Have you seen the soul? Have you seen the soul inside us? Have you seen in your physical eyes? The rule says you can't see actually. The Kena Upanishad says Yat chakshusha na pashyati. That means the soul you will not be able to see through your eyes, but by that you will be able to see. That means another mantra also says you can't think about the soul, but with the power of the soul you can think. So basically the soul is beyond than our intuitions, imaginations, or whatever way we realize. The Rishi asked a very beautiful question actually. It's one of the beautiful mantras from the Kena Upanishad, because it's about, Rishi asked a question, Kene shitam patati prashitam manaha. Who forces my mind to think? Kena preti prano yuktaha. Who gives this vital force to breathe? Kenahur manomatam. The Rishi asks many questions actually. And the disciples asking the question and the Rishi defines. You do not have, we can't see the spirit of soul with our eyes, with our mind or vital forces, because it is beyond than something. We have to be united with the Supreme Consciousness so that we can know, yes, there is a higher power. And where is that higher power actually? Is it on the earth? Or is it on the Antariksha Lok or intermediate region, or somewhere else? There are billions of planets on the earth. This universe, multiverses are also there. So where is the power actually? Lord Shiva says, why you are searching for me actually? There is no need to search. He says, I am with you, you are also with me. In the famous Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna also says, Yastu Sarvani Bhutani. That means, if you understand I am in the Supreme Being and the Supreme Being is within us, the entire universe becomes the creation of the Almighty. And with our different levels of consciousness or mind, we have identified into different, we may talk about the religions or the cultures or the ethics, whatever. So when we chant this mantra, actually the basic objective, like if you study these mantras, the scripture says 4 things are essential. The first is, who is the owner? Suppose like in the scriptures you will find the disciple goes to the teacher, he asks a question, I want to know something about the soul, I want to know something about immortality. You take the example of Katha Upanishad. The Bhajashrava, the rishi, sent his son to the death god, Yamlok. So he was waiting, he was there for 3 day and night, he was waiting to meet with the death god, that is the Yam Devta. When Lord Yama was appeared on him, before him, and he asked to, you are a son of the Brahman, so you are here since 3 days and nights without having any food, I think, so please excuse me for this, and you please ask 3 whatever baras means Ashirvad you want. The first thing what Nachiketas asked to the death god, please give peace and tranquility in my father's mind. But the main thing what he demanded to the death god, Yamraj, you please give me the knowledge of immortality. This knowledge of immortality, if you read that Katha Upanishad, it's a very beautiful translation Sri Aurobindo has done. Through these discourses between Nachiketas and the death god, it was tremendous. The god was not able to reveal the secret of the spiritual knowledge about the Atman. But whatever discussions happened between them, finally they tried to talk about the soul. The Katha Upanishad says the same thing. The soul has to be experienced. Atma ba are drashtabhyah, shrotabhyah, mantabhyah, nididhashitibhyah. Suppose I will tell you, Manjunath Bhaiya is he is a great personality. I will tell you, Sai Baba he is a conscious being. Or I will tell you, my spouse, she is just like a force, Shakti for me. If I will tell you, Bhaiya, yeah, his personality, Didi, sister is there. We have a certain appearance. But the main thing is that whatever you will say, you use millions or billions of words, but my identity is something different. I know what I am, but sometimes I do not know who am I also. The first question the scriptures ask, who are you? The disciple asks about, I am here to know thyself, to myself. When this teacher taught traditions or the initiations, when the disciple realizes, yes, I am the part of the Brahman, Aham Brahmashmi, then I also find the same thing in you. Tattvamasi, thou art that. When I and you the same, what's about all the entire beings? Sarvam khalu idam Brahma, that means it is the entire part of the creations actually. And the Vedic chantings of the sacred mantras, whether it is the Brahmana Granthas, whether it is the Aranyakas, whether it is the Samhitas, whether it is the Brahmanas, Aranyakas or Upanishads, or the Vedanga literatures, or many other classical literatures we started from the Ramayana, Mahabharata and many others. Their main objective was to give in a symbolic form the true nature of the creation. Like the first mantra of Rigved, Rishi Madhuchandas in the Gayatri meter, he recites Om Agnim Mele Purohitam Yajnasya Deva Mritvijam Hota Aram Ratna Dhatamam. The tradition says there was no fire on earth. When this universe was created, there was no fire, because when we talk about creation of the universe, it is not just like the earth. We have universe, we have multiverse also, and the law says Prithvi, Vayu, Up, Tej, Vayu, Akas, 5 elements. But there are 2 sages, Atharva and Angiras, they brought fire from the intermediate region actually. There is no fire, the scripture says like that. So through their miraculous powers, in whatever religions you see, to take the example of the Jandavastha, Avestan text of the Zoroastrians, you will find the sacred invocations, mantras or symbolic words to invoke the spiritual, the conscious powers to transform the human life on earth. So these 3 things are very important when we chant the mantras actually. What exactly, one is the Adhidaivik, Adhibhautik and Adhyatmik. and these mantras reveals us. You take the example, suppose we are going on the road and someone vehicle came or some negative things happened actually. We suddenly say, oh God, please. Not even if we talk about, oh Prime Minister or oh President or oh someone XYZ. Spontaneously we call, oh God, please protect us. Who is the God actually? So it is basically the divinity, and the divine forces is within us, and the main necessity to proceed in the path of this sadhana, what we talk about in the light of integral yoga, to focus on something in a deeper consciousness of ours. Because in the visible world, you see, like we talk about, there are 24 hours, sometimes 7-8 hours we sleep, we are in the dream stage. In our day-to-day activities, we are engaged with many other things, but we find it just little bit time to think about ourselves. When we close our eyes, we find whatever creations and whatever the reality is something different. We find we have different levels of beings, but how to channelize those powers, and the mantras are the real instruments to feel these vibrations actually. You take the example of, I'll talk first, I'll come to these physical setups actually. In the famous Atharva Upanishad, Atharva Veda, there is a Shukta called Kena Shuktam. This Shukta, there are several mantras, speaks about the human anatomy, how this human body was formed. You take the example of the famous Shiva Sankalpa Shukta of Yajurveda. It talks about human mind. It talks about Om Yajvagrato Duramedeti Devam Tadu Suptasya Tathaiveti Durangamam Jyotisham Jyotirekam Tanme Manaha Shiva Sankalpamastu. Rishi Patanjali speaks of Yoga Chittabritti Nirodha, to restrain your mind. This Shiva Sankalpa Shukta, it says Yajvagrato Dura Mudaiti Devam. Yad Jagrato, that means it speaks about the mind, my mind, which is basically when I am awakened, Jagrat, in the conscious state. Tadu Suptasya Tathaibeti, even if when I sleep, mind goes here and there. The Rishi says Yajvagrato Dura Mudaiti Devam Tadu Suptasya Tathaibeti Durangamam Jyotikam Jyotirekam Tanme Manah Shiva Sankalpamastu. That means whether it is in the Jagrata or the conscious levels or in the dream stage, wherever my mind goes, it should be associated with auspicious thoughts. Tanme Manaha Shiva Sankalpamastu. Now the question comes, has this mantra any spiritual, any therapeutic approach to us? You see, mind has its own activities actually. I cannot say, yeah, I have a human body, it should be, the size should be 4 feet. I do not have control on my human body actually, because spontaneously it will grow. In the similar things, we do not have the control over our mind. Like we are listening, we are here, we are discussing something on the mind, with something talking about the Vedic things. We also similarly think some other things. We will go to Aurobindo, go to the ashram, we will go to the seaside, I have the food, I have to meet with someone else. Similarly, simultaneously some thoughts are going on actually. So we can't stop the thought process actually. If we try to stop the thought process, that will create another process actually. So it is not so easy to control the mind. What the Vedic seers says about that, Tanme Manaha Shiva Sankalpama. So wherever, let him go, but it should be associated with the auspicious thoughts. When I will try to bring back my mind, it will come to my. So we do not have the control. Nowadays you see, due to this advent of these super instruments which we have created, nowadays what is happening, people, like many kids, they are going on the road, okay, doing like that. Even if sometimes in one hand the mobile and another mobile they ride the bikes. So that means they are not conscious actually. If I am walking, I should be much more conscious. Yes, this is in this page, I am doing this. You take the example of this famous Upanishad, which talks about the spirit, the spiritual identities. So the mantras has many effects. The mantras has many effects. But if we will not chant it properly, and the results may be negative also. You take the example of this practice of this yoga we talk about nowadays. If you want to learn the yogic practices, particularly the hatha yogic, whether it is the asanas, the postures, whether it is the breathing practices, whether it is the psychic gestures or the mudras, whether it is the meditation techniques, it has to be followed by certain principles. What happens nowadays, they will just watch the TV and start the most difficult yogic postures. So sometimes it affects to us. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna also speaks about if we do not practice the yogic systems in a proper way, yoga bhavati dukkha, that yoga means bring bad results to us. Whether it is in the physical level or in the vital level or in the psychological level. And in the invisible, in the intuitive mind and in the blissful states also it will affect, because we have panchakosas, the 5 layers of human. I'll tell you a beautiful story. There was a demon. His name was Vritra. He was an asura actually. He was a Asura. Sura means Devata, who is a god. Asura means who is not a god actually. Asur. So that Vritra was performing a sacrifice to defeat Indra, because he was aspiring for the heaven. So what he did, he chanted a mantra. The Vedic mantras has to be chanted with 3 swaras. One is Uddat, higher pitch, Anuddat, the lower pitch. Samahar Swarit means there is no lower and higher, it should be a balanced way. When he chanted the mantra actually, instead of the higher pitch, he used the word in a lower pitch, and what happened, that mantra converted it to a thunderbolt and killed that demon actually. And there is a famous verse, it says, Dushtaha sabdaha swarato varnato va. Thunderbolt means like the lightning, no? Like it's killed that word converted into a lightning, that thunderbolt we says, no? It killed that demon actually. So the mantra says, Dushtaha sabdaha swarato varnato va mithya prayukto na tamarthamaha. Sabhag Vajram, it is called Vajram, Indra's weapon, na? Indra's weapon is called the Vajram. Sabhag Vajro Yajamanam Hinasti Yatha Indra Satruhu Swarato Aparadha. Dushtaha Sabda, whatever word we see, we should not try to pronounce it if we do not have the proper knowledge of pronouncing the alphabets or the sounds. If we do not know the words how to be chanted or pronounced. Dushta sabdaha swarato varnato va mithya prayukto na tamarthamaha. If it is not connected with, so suppose I will give you one example. Like in Sanskrit, the first alphabet is, what is the first alphabet? Yes, Bhavani. That is A. So the first alphabet is A. So when we pronounce this A alphabet actually, Panini refers, when we chant A, we find a little vibration in our throat. Can you please chant, can you just utter, it is A, yes, A. You just keep your hand here on the throat. Do you feel any vibration here? A, A, A. You feel the vibrations? You just keep your hand here like Cha, Cha, Cha. You feel a little vibration in it? I'll tell you. Then you say Pa, 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 Pa. These lips are joining actually. You say it is Ta, Ta, Ta. So there are vibrations are there. Panini says if you want to recite Akuha Visarjanyanam Kantha, there is a rule. It says A and the Ka varga, like Ka, kha, ga, gha. When you pronounce this, you will find a little bit vibrations actually. When we talk about pa, pa, ba, pa, upupadhvaniyanam ostho, when you pronounce these 4 or 5 levels of these alphabets, your lips will touch upupadhvaniyanam ostho. Lrutu lasanam danta. You see ta, ta, no, that is ta, ta, tha, da, dha, na. When we pronounce all these alphabets, your tongue will touch to your palate particularly. So there is basically a certain rules to pronounce these mantras actually, and when some different alphabets are connected, and we have the matras, lower pitch, higher pitch, etc. We have to be, and we have a special program for the Vedic chanting for sometimes 3 to 4 days programs we do. It is difficult to tell everything in within 45 minutes or 1 hour. So what I want to convey, yes.
While ago when you were reciting Purusha Sukta,
Yes.
sorry,
No, please. Yes, please.
stop. A while ago when you were reciting Purusha Sukta, I felt as if that moment should just go on and on. And it was, I had some feeling or experience, something like as if the mother is describing Shri Aurobindo. It was like, the light of Shri Aurobindo, I mean, it was like, you go like a medium or a channel. And it was kind of experience. So maybe you were just describing about these syllables and the location of the pronouns. So my question is, do they select words accordingly to formulate any sutta?
Okay. Yes, beautiful question actually. There is, you see, there are millions of scriptures in Vedic and classical Sanskrit. Rishi Patanjali in his famous Mahabharata text, it's basically a grammatical text. Patanjali speaks about Ekavinshati Bahavruchaha, that means the Rig Veda had 21 branches, and Ekasatam Adharyu Shakha, the Yajurveda had 100 branches, and Sahasra Vartma Samaveda, the Samaveda had 1000 branches, and Navadha Atharvanaha. The Atharveda had 9 branches. The Samaveda is one of the most popular Vedas because Lord Krishna also in Srimad Bhagavad Gita speaks about Vedanam Samavedo Asmi. Lord Krishna says, I am the Samaveda among the Vedas. If you refer to these scriptures, you will find answer to all your questions, like what the mother says, if you read Shri Aurobindo's, all your questions will be disappeared. There is a sloka, it says, Richo akshare parame vyoman yasmin deva adhivishve nisheduhu yastanna veda tam richam kim karishanti. The Rishi asks a question, the translation is Richo akshare parame vyoman. I think you have heard some research by the NASA, like this chanting of the Om and the vibration is continuously, and they are trying to record that sound actually. The process is still going on. So the Vedas basically, it's not like whatever we have written on the paper or palm leaves or any of the inscriptions. The Vedas has the beginnings, they have no beginning and no end actually. It is since it is part of the creation, it is already there. In this mantra actually what the Rishi tries to convey, Richo Akshare Parame Vyoman, that means the mantras, we talk about the Richa. Richa means the Vedic mantras are called as the Richa actually. Richo Akshare Parame Vyoman, that means the existence is the Parame Vyoman, means the entire cosmic universe. Richo Akshare Parame Vyoman Yasmin Deva Adhivishwa Nisheduhu. It's not like that we human beings, some 15, 20 people are discussing here. Yasmin Deva Adhivishwa Nishedu means in that upper level of world, the gods also, they have some satras like this, some sessions, they also discuss Yasmin Deva Adhivishwa Nisheduhu. Yastanna Veda, that means who do not know that spirit, tam rucham kim karishanti. That means whatever physical writing things we have, what these mantras will affect to us. That means it asks about the supreme consciousness to be connected with that. And Sri Aurobindo has also meticulously has given the central points, how these words has to be, alphabets has to be chanted in a proper way. And you see the beautiful sentence, the structure of this mantras, like first mantra is Agnim Mele Purohitam. Ga is the consonant, No is the consonant, E is the alphabet. When we talk about Agni and refer to Panini's, that Agni is basically a Sanskrit word. The root is Ag, means Gatyatak, means to go. Ni is the suffix. So basically when you mention whether they want to convey some things, suppose you take the example of Atman, why the Rishi coined this particular word, or you take the example of Prithvi. In the, if you chant this Vedic, study these Vedic mantras, actually you will not be able to understand what the philological structure is. Next to the Vedas, the Brahmana literatures are there. And the priests, the sages and seers in these Brahmana granthas, they tried to convey those meanings of those words. Suppose you take the example of Prithvi, Prathanat Prithvi iti ahu, that means the earth is spread actually. So they gave certain meanings to find, and the rishis were very symbolic actually. If you refer to any of the words, it has a symbolic meaning. So the way they are choosing the words, it is basically their mind, and we are not able to understand the mind of the seers. Yaska says very important thing, Didi. Sakshat Kruta Rushaya Dharmana Babubu Te Asakshat Kutebhya Upadeshana Mantran Sampradu Upadeshaya Glayanto Imam Vedam Vedanganicha. That means the rishis, they invented the spirit of knowledge, Sakshat Kuta Rushaya Dharmana Babubu. They had a direct connection with that supreme power, and they taught to the second level of sages. They Upadeshena Mantran Sampradahu, Upadesh ke madhyam se sikhaya gaya. Upadeshena Glayanto Avarebhyo, those who are not able to receive this knowledge or not to memorize in a particular way, for them these mantras were written. In that way, these Vedic seers are called mystics. What is mantra actually? Mananat mantra, that means which comes through the thought process of our mind. Who is a rishi? Rishihi Darsanat, who can see. We have also eyes, but who sees the beyond than whatever our intuitive mind is. So I think is this to I am from a traditional Brahmin family. I studied the Vedas in some modern education things. I am here, I always believed my role is just like a little squirrel's role. So whatever force is coming, it is just revealing. So what I was trying to convey that the Veda mantras has to be chanted in a proper way, and the three levels of Adhyatmik, Adibhautik and Adidavik, and the necessity is this. Now we will practice some few mantras, some when I was a student, I was doing my masters, I met one physics professor in 2002. He was from one of the institutes from California, and he was basically a physics professor. Unfortunately, in our curriculum, particularly in Indian nowadays, the syllabuses are changing, and in some pages the scientific study has been brought out. He asked me a question, do you know there is a mantra which speaks about 0 minus 0 is equal to 0, 0 plus 0 is equal to 0, 0 plus 0 is equal to 0, and 0 divided by 0 is equal to 0. I told no, sir. Because I was not a student of mathematics, so he told me there is a mantra called Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnasya, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. That means it says that is infinite, that means the Atman, the Rishi speaks about the Atman, that is infinite, and this universe is also infinite. And this infinite proceeds from the infinite. Then taking the infinitude from the infinite universe, it remains as the infinite Brahman alone. Om, peace, peace and peace. He mentioned that this is the concept, particularly if we will connect the Atman, the soul with the soul, it will be the soul only. It will be the Paramatman. If we will divide the Atman soul from the soul, it will remain the same. There will be no changes in it. So there are beautiful mantras. We all together can chant some 3-4 mantras. We see what the vibration is coming, because it's a we have given it as a workshop. You can come here, Didi. Come here, come. Please come. So first I will recite, you can follow me, then we will try for 1 or 2 times more, then we can chant it in a combined. Sahanavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviram karavavahe Tejasvi navaditamastu Ma viddishavahe Om Shahanavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviram karavavahe Tejasvi navaditamastu Ma viddishavahe. Do you think it is easy to chant? It's difficult? Why? Yes, we can have yes, sounds. Yeah, if we practice little bit, it will be, because the mind has to be trained in a proper way. If you give a little bit emphasis on whatever things, the mind accepts actually. It has the power, it has a more than some millions of gigabytes in our mind, it can accept, but a little bit practice is needed. We chanted these mantras with open eyes. One more exercise, I request all of you to close your eyes and do this exercise once again and feel what the vibration is. So you may please close your eyes and we'll try it once. Om Shahanavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviram karavavahe Tejasvi navaditamastu Ma viddishavahe. Om Shahanavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviram karavavahe Tejasvi navaditamastu Ma viddishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Please close your eyes and meditate on this mantra actually. This language is not accessible and we do not know the meaning of this. But we feel a little vibration when we chanted this mantra. There are more than 50 alphabets, and the alphabets with the connection of the matras, the lower and the higher, whatever, the sounds, it created a vibration in our physical body. It created a vibration in our vital levels, our mental level, and we are a little bit conscious about to know the intuitive mind and the blissful sit. So the translation is only, oh, may God protect us both together. May God nourish us both together. May we work conjointly with great energy. May our study be vigorous and effective. And may we not mutually dispute, or may we not hate any. Om, let there be peace, peace and peace. So this is basically the translation of this mantra. Now you may please slowly open your eyes and see what the vibration is. Did you felt anything when you closed your eyes? There is a two differences. When you have opened your eyes, because the experience was something different, and when we chanted this mantra with the closed eyes, completely connected with our physical, vital, mental, psychic and spiritual things, the realization was something different. Was it so? We felt something little bit vibrations or any, or simple, or a spark of light, we connected with our inner soul, something, our mind, body, spirit, it was united? Yes. Okay, good. So the mantras has to be chanted in a particular way, and there have some effects. We can try another mantra, that is Om Ashato Ma Sadgama. This is a very beautiful mantra actually. It's a very simple mantra, we can try. Asato ma sadgamaya tamasho ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Second time. Om Ashato ma Shadgamaya Tamasho ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Loka Shamasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The Rishi prays to the Universal Lord, Asato Ma Sadgamaya. That means, O Lord, please lead me from Asat to Sat. That means from untruth to truth. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Please lead me from this darkness to the light. And also from death to immortality. You see, this vibration of these three mantras, like this mantra has a power, it can give the realization, the sensitivity or the conscious force to jump from untruth to truth, to march towards tamas to jyoti, that means from darkness to the light, and also from mrityu to amrit, that is the from death to immortality. So you see how Didi asked a question whether how they choose some symbolic words to express their ideas. Here the Rishi's main intention was to aspire the being's conscious force to achieve and how scientific it is. The first line is not Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. First it says Ashato Ma Shadgamaya. That means whatever the war between the truth and untruth, the Rishi speaks about, please lead me from untruth to the truth. I should know the real spirit of what exactly is. Like Lord Aurobindo says, that when he searched for the God, many people told many ideas, but he had his firm conviction, if God is there, I want to see him face to face. And he had written, the God appeared before him and he hugged him also. Take the famous Uttarapada speech, he talks about Lord Krishna's appearance in each and everything. So this scientific composition of these mantras are, the rishis are very ninyam vachansi. They speaks about the secret and very symbolic things. They didn't use the first consciousness, that is mrityorma amritava, the first necessity, that is asat to sat, ashatoma sadgamaya. When the being is realized, the asat, that is from the untruth to truth. The second thing comes tamasoma jyotir, when we feel the light, divine light. When we can share all these details. Okay. So the second thing is basically from the light, darkness to the light actually, tamasoma jyotirgamaya. And the third necessity is to be liberated from the cycle of death and birth and death, and to be united with the Supreme Soul, that is the from death to immortality. This Prithvi Lok, this earth is basically called as the Martya Lok. Martya means everything has a certain lifespan, whether the human beings, the animals, the plants, the big mountains also. So it is Martya Mandal because everything is not permanent, nothing is permanent here actually. We think about everything permanent, what are things. So this is Martya Lok, everything has to be finished one day. That is the ultimate reality, and it is basically the cycle of creation. And the concept of rebirth is also there. Until unless we are not connected with the universal soul, we have to take several whatever different forms to realize the Supreme Soul. So the Rishi speaks about Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. The Vedas also speaks of Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam Shada Pashyanti Suraya. That means that Lord Vishnu's abode, Sada Pashyanti Suraya, the gods always they aspires for that particular place where you will find the Amrit, Shanti, Jyoti and many other things. Immortality, light and peace is there. This is basically, we can try one more mantra also, then we can have a small discussion on this. This is also another beautiful mantra that is about peace for all. I can chant and you can quote accordingly. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. You can try it. Sarvesham swasti bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam bhavatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You see, when I have a little bit conscious enough and I try to know who the real power is, to him to whom we talk about different languages we have given, the God, Ishwar, Brahman, whatever. When the soul starts its journey to find that ultimate place or to be united with the universal soul, the journey starts within. It is not like that I am 40 years old, I have not done any effort to know the God. The law says, if you will not try to know the ultimate being or the supreme reality will work for you, and continuously that force is going on. We do not know how our breathing force since the beginning of our life, it is with us, it's working. We are not much aware how our physical body is working with us, it has come to this part. And we do not know how our mind is united with many auspicious and negative positive thoughts. If you can express your life, you can write billions of pages. And we do not know, we are not aware about our conscious mind, how it has stored so many unique things. And the little spark of anand or the bliss or the peace, whether I find a good dress, I visited one of the beautiful places, or I have a beautiful wife, I have a beautiful house, or we attend some festive occasions, we find a little bit bliss or peaceful state. So that ananda is basically the necessity and the ultimate and indispensable. Without that, sometimes we feel our life is miserable. We are not marching in a right path. Sometimes my life is not good. So the Rishi speaks about Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. The Rishi speaks about may there be well-being for all. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Let there be peace for everyone. And third is Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there will be fulfillment in all. I'll conclude in one mantra that is very important, and every time I might discuss about that. Ayam nijaha paraveti ganana laguchetasam udara charitanam tu vasudheva kutumbakam. This is mine, that is yours. Of course, this is mine, that is yours, we talk about. But this diversity should be in a surface level. It should not cover our entire consciousness or intellect. This diversity is the main obstacle to proceed in the path of sadhana. Ayam nijaha paraveti ganana laguchetasam. That means where the consciousness is not fully awakened, it is not fully manifested, this diversity comes. But this diversity is the main formula to reach to the unity actually. If we do not have the diversity, we cannot feel the unity. The Rishi, you see how they are symbolic, and in mantras how they define the rules. Ayam nijaha paraveti ganana laguchetasam. That means where the laguchetas means is not like that an ST man with an ST consciousness. It says about where the consciousness is not fully awakened. It's its journey is still going on. Laguchetas. This is mine, that is yours. This diversity comes where the consciousness is not fully awakened or it is under progress. But Udara Charitanam, whose consciousness is fully awakened, Udara Charitra is wide in heart. For them, the world becomes a family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This G20 summit, when this India hosted this G20 summit, the motto was Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one world, one family. And the Vedas also speaks about Yatra, what is that? Yatra Vishwam Bhavati Ekanidam, where the entire universe becomes a family. So what these rishis, through more than 20,000 of the Vedic mantras, or whatever we have lost in the physical plane, but in the spiritual plane, the Vedas are already there. What the Vedic seers have done, the tremendous effort to bring back the supreme truth, like Maharshi Aurobindo's contribution to bring the supramental manifestation on earth. And the mother speaks very clearly, the world is preparing for a big change. Will you help? What is that change? Is it the materialistic necessities? No, it's basically the change of consciousness. And that consciousness is the ultimate force. When everything will be dissolved, one force will be there, it will assemble everything within. And that is the entity, real significance or identity of the Brahman. So the Vedas has to be chanted in a proper way, its meanings has to be understood, and little bit practice is also needed to, because without practice everything is impossible. So with this, I do not know how all these words came to me, whatever Maharshi Aurobindo's things came to me. I was just what Didi told, I was just an instrument, some force was going on, and I see English is not my mother tongue actually. I was born in Odisha, my mother tongue is Odia, and I tried to learn this language and also united with my thoughts, and I'm trying to convey whatever my mind is speaking through the whatever powers. So I hope I have not wasted your time, and if something good has come out through this little session, the credit goes to our Divine Master and the Mother. If something negative or if something happened in an unconscious way, I am responsible for that. So if you have any questions or any comments, any criticism, everything, yes, please. Charu.
So you said before that one has to pronounce with the proper vibration.
Yes.
And I was wondering what is the proper way to pronounce
Mantraj.
the Om mantra.
You see, Om is basically the combination of 3 alphabets. Om is basically the combination of 3 alphabets. The vowel O, like there are 2 alphabets, one is A and another is U. When we combine these 2, it becomes O. And the Ma is basically a consonant. You know what is the difference between vowels and consonants? In Sanskrit, vowels actually, Swayam Rajante iti swaraha, they are called the swara varnas, vowels. Sanskrit alphabets basically divided into 2 parts. One is the vowel and another is the consonant. Like A, I, U, U, Ri, A, I, O are the vowels. Ka, kha, ga, ga, ma, cha, 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 nya, ta, ta, da, na, ta, ta, da, na, pa, pa, ba, ba, ma, ya, ra, la, va, sa, 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 akshara. These are the consonants actually. So vowels basically, they are basically the kings. They do not require any senapati or any leaders or any supporters to pronounce them actually. So Swayam Rajante iti swaraha, without the help of anything, the vowels can प्रकट करने के मतलब बोलते हैं कि they can express themselves. But Vyanjanani prakatayanti anena iti Vyanjanani. That means the consonants, with the help of the vowels only, they can manifest their identity. So when we write Om actually, O, then there is a Pluta Swara is there, Ma, Halant. Halant means even a small is there. That Ma Halant means there is no alphabet in Ma, Om. We can't say Om Ma, Om. Why you have to give little stress? Because it is not connected with the alphabet. So the very word Om is basically the combination of 3 alphabets. One is A, that is a vowel. Another is the U, that is also a vowel. And Ma, it is not Ma, it is Ma. That means vowel is not there. So sometimes when we start from the Gurukuls actually, we'll finish it in 2 minutes. We'll just finish in 2 minutes. So basically when the disciple learns how to proper chant this Om, in many Gurukulas you will find in northern India, what they chant, Om. They start from the A, U, Ma. But actually this is a wrong process. In the beginning phase this is fine. Why it is so? In Sanskrit there is a terminology called Sandhi, conjunction. That means the alphabet has to be united, Once the alphabets are united, you will create the words, and like I'll tell you in the philological way. One is the phonetics, the sounds. Whatever I am uttering or whatever you are listening, these are basically sounds, nothing else. It's only a vibration. If I will not tell anything, you will not listen anything. So basically, the first stage is this is the alphabets, and alphabets basically from the sounds actually. Second is when these alphabets are connected with each other, like a, u, ma, it creates the words. That is called the morphology. There are 4 structures in the philological structure. One is the phonetics, then morphology, syntax, and semantics. When we combine some little alphabets, whether it is the vowels or consonants, we create the words. And when we create separate different words like Agnim Mele Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Rittijam Hotaram Ratna Dhatamam, or Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. There are different words. So when you unite these words, it becomes a sentence or a mantra or whatever. Like you take the example of Ramayana. The Ramayana has been written with 1 meter, that is called the Anushtup Chand. Or you take the example of the Agni Shuktam of Rigved, Agnim Mele Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Mrityujam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. It is so scientific. That means it has written in a Gayatri meter, a Chanda is there, and that Chanda has to be in a 3 steps, and each sentence there should be 8 syllables or alphabets. It will not 7, 8 or 9 or 10. Yes, syllables from the alphabets, these matras and all this. So basically the Om is basically the combination of A, U and Ma, and when we combine A and U, it becomes O. And even the like many people, sometimes someone utters that and some people chant is directly Om. The rule says the Sandhi means conjunction is eternal actually. Without breaking the words, we can't pronounce. And once it is connected, you can't separate them in a proper way. Suppose I will tell you Swastir Bhavastu, Swastihi Bhavatu, there are 2 different words, but when we unite these words, this Visarga, there is a Visarga brings Ra Phala, Swastir will be converted to Ra, Swastir Bhavatu, but if you tell Swastihi Bhavatu, it became a prose actually, it lost.
The fusion of the 2 letters gives another sound.
Yes, exactly. So when we do Swastihi Bhavatu, it became a prose. Swastir Bhavatu, it became a poetry or mantra, whatever.
So the O in Om sound
Yes.
is it's not an A, it's not an O open, it's an O closed like O.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
So the sound starts, it's being prolonged, and it's an O.
Exactly.
And the M has to be,
Chanted a little bit longer.
yeah.
Yes.
The M has a different sound. Is it? It has a specific pitch or a way to be pronounced.
Actually, yes.
Before you made us feel the vibration on the top here, pronouncing. Is it? There has to be a specific vibration, or is it?
Yeah. Actually, each and every alphabet has its own vibrations. Like you see Pa, Pha, Ba, Bha, Ma, and U also. This Pa, Pha, Ba, Bha, and Ma. Ma is basically Osto, the lips, like na Upapadvanyam nam Osto Panini said.
The vibration is here inside the nose, or is it somewhere else?
No. Actually, what happens? As per the philological structure is, although the pronunciation of the alphabets has its specific place. Suppose pa, e. The alphabets has its specific place to pronounce, but when we pronounce a single alphabet also, we feel a vibration in the entire body. I'll give you, you can try also once. Little bit louder also we can do. So you feel the vibration here or something, entire body, something is happening. Exactly.
Maybe this om sound has to do something with the glands and the pineal gland and maybe.
Yes, actually, yeah, you told one good thing. Particularly, we have chakras, these yogic systems that might get another session to interact actually. It says that in our human body, which is basically made by bones, flesh, bloods, etc., we have also different energy channels where the wind flows, the blood flows, and the energies also flows. The Rishi also speaks about we have different levels of chakras. Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Anahat, Vishuddha, Sahasrara chakras are there. So when we chant the mantra, Om sound actually, we have to be very conscious when we chanting the mantras and to focus on those chakras. Ashta chakra, Navadvara, the Rishi speaks in the Vedas, we have 8 chakras and 9 doors in our human body actually. We can focus on now the chakras like the central points in our body to make it like that. And the focus is from the starting to the end actually. When your ma finishes means it dissolves in that Sahasrara chakra means 1000 petals like thing. And you asked one question like that, when we pronounce or oo, o and u, when you connect it will be o, but the ma has also a special kind of vibrations actually. But how you will pronounce, if it is ma means ma plus vowel plus consonant plus vowel, you can say it ma, ma, ma. If the vowel is not there, ma, how will say? Like we say om. We say om because ma is not the full ma, its halant is there. So each and every alphabet has a specific meaning. If you can give your email ID, I can share with you. Sri Aurobindo has given a complete set of what exactly those alphabets meanings, and every sound has its existence like small atoms and is a part of the universal thing. So this was the thing I was trying to convey today.